So I'm here at Anticon, which is a technology and digital transformation conference. It's held here in Greenwich, which is great for me because I live in Greenwich, so very, very convenient. And it's a place where loads of people involved in marketing and in marketing technology and revenue operations, all those kind of job functions come to learn about what's new and talk to some of the vendors and some of the providers. Marketing technology is a very interesting area right now. If you look at the Scott Brinker stuff, it always looks like the area is exploding and continuing to expand. I'm not sure that everybody inside of that really feels the same way. And I was at a roundtable recently, a think tank, Mosaic, organised by Clever Touch last week, and it definitely wasn't the messages getting across there. So really interesting to hear today, talk to some of the B2B marketers and the vendors and the agencies involved about what they're seeing, what's going on in the world of marketing technology, obviously particularly as it relates to B2B. So let's go inside and talk to some people and see what they're talking about and what's on their agenda when it comes to MarTech.
Noise. It's not reach, it's relevance, and this is hugely important because the culture is so deeply embedded in so many companies.
So here at Anticon with Robert you're from Robert Walters. Robert from Robert Walters, which is confusing, isn't it, as we know?
I'm not the Robert Walters.
You're Robert Walters, right. And we've been talking just now about a lot of conversation today at Anticon about AI, as you'd expect probably. A lot of it's quite frothy. Are we grounded in actually how we need to use this yet? What do you think? Is it still a bit kind of a lot of hype going on around this right now?
I think there's a huge amount of hype on it. You can't go to a single presentation without a mention of AI.
Yeah.
But I think it's getting to that point where people are trying to moving into those kind of pilot concepts of the reality of testing it in certain situations. But there's still an element where it's very point solutions to say, okay, I've sorted out my diary, I've sorted out this. There's some elements of making better campaigns, but is it fundamentally changing B2B marketing? I'm not so sure yet as to whether it's changing it as much as we think.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I think it's reassuring because a lot of people are really worried about it. Is it going to steal my job? I don't think we're quite there yet. But we can't. Despite what you said, we can't be too close-minded about it, right? We've got to keep seeing what's going on, understanding how its evolution, how its relevance can evolve.
I think it's more, it's adding value to people's roles. So a lot of people are talking, I'm a strategic leader. How do I carve out time to understand the tools and the technologies and use strategy, right? They're trying to understand that. And they're looking at AI as a way of becoming a more efficient leader. So there's a lot of discussions around kind of those topics. And I just think, AI is going to be a really fascinating change to these things. Some of the tools and technologies, whether it's data tools, it's adding a layer on top of that, but is it quite a kind of fundamental change to data and technology? Not quite yet. There's lots of technology stacks that need altering.
Yeah, I think so a lot. As ever, it was always the way, wasn't it? Robert, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And then the last piece is maybe the testing.
So here is Holly from Soldo. Holly, how are you?
Good, great to see you.
Love to see you too. It's one of these great things about coming to marketing or MarTech events, bumping into people you know and haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've been here obviously learning about what's going on in the world of MarTech. What have you learned, anything you've learned today around your use of MarTech and perhaps how you're using AI? Because that's what everyone's talking about at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very AI focused event.
Right.
It's interesting to come to an event like this, partially to hear what other people have to say and partially to stimulate you thinking about other things because you're away from the office, you step away from the office. And that's great. So I think that, people talking about how the keynote at the beginning, talking about sort of how do you, we've built it in a very sort of systematic way, but how do you get back? If you were to build it today, what would it look like? And I think that's really interesting because you have to detach from what's already there, what you know. How you build nurture campaigns, how you build, you do it in a certain way. How would you do it if you just scrapped everything and started from scratch? And would it be the same? Because you're so wedded to the way that you've always done things. So that's interesting. And I think with AI, it's talking about, for me, from a MarTech perspective, it's exciting because AI is in everything. But also, and then with the generative AI working, I kind of see that separate. So I like to think, well, how can I get this tool to work better by using the AI that is within that tool as well. So everything has its own use case.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, there's a lot of hype around it, but also there's still a human being who's got to be at the heart of what's going on. We haven't got to the point where we automated ourselves out of contention in this world.
No,
the human component in great marketing is still there, still very strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one of the interesting things that I've been thinking about that came up actually in a recent one of the recent talks was about getting the AI to interrogate the brief.
Yeah.
Like getting the brief right in the first place.
Yeah.
So that then you get them then it's like, well, which tools, how are we going to communicate with people? What do we actually want to do? How are we going to engage with them? So I think it's getting that right in the first place is a really good way of using AI.
Yeah, and it's a challenge we're all wrestling with. So Holly, thanks so much for your time today.
No problem, thank you.
Yeah, there's a number of elements to it. For any role from today, it's typically has 4 elements to it.
So I'm here with Tom Rudnai from Demand Genius.
Hello.
I pronounced your name right, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's it. Well, I won't go into it now.
that's close enough. Okay. And Tom, you're at Anticon, and you're here as an aspiring startup MarTech organisation, MarTech vendor.
Exactly.
You're here to learn what's going on. You're here to find out what's happening. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Find out latest in marketing. It's nice to be out, the buzz of it. Meet as many people as I can. Walk up to people, start conversations with nice people like Joel.
Well, I hope to be nice anyway. Most of the time I'm nice. And I guess there's lots of inspiration to be had from all the other vendors that are here. Some of them big ones, some of them are kind of international, some of them are homegrown. It's a lot of variety.
A lot of variety, stealing as many ideas as I can. Wandering around the floor, you can actually see to the right of us here. One idea, if you're ever going to do an event, is to get an F1 car, and that's had a queue of people all day long.
Yeah, I bet it has, exactly. It's a very simple but effective way of getting people to the stand. You know, it's like we're all this high-tech world, but actually it comes down to bringing people to a stand and making them want to stay there. So where are you on your journey now? Your platform's live, is that right?
Platform's live, so we spent most of last year building out the platform. Launched it end of last year with a few beta customers, raised a bit of money, and now just starting to scale and develop it very, very quickly.
Fantastic. Well, great to see you here, and I hope you get lots of inspiration and look forward to seeing more of what Demand Genius is going to do and how you're going to impact with B2B. So thanks for joining
me. Nice to see you.
Cheers.
We're on the right path to get a 360 view of our customer behavior. And also the next thing
So I'm here for Chris from Sixth Sense. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Joel. How you doing?
Good to see you.
And you?
So we're here at this Anticon, which is all about cutting-edge MarTech and a lot of it on B2B. And you and I were talking about the fact that your campaign you've got launching today, which is about using Sherlock Holmes as the kind of starting point, isn't it? I think it's really interesting that Sixth Sense is one of the kind of preeminent brands in B2B MarTech. You've still got to use creativity and human interest to actually make brands come alive.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people engage with stories, and we're still selling to individuals who, and for us at Sixth Sense, I mean, we engage with marketers as a key persona. So I think they are, often a lot more open to creative, out-of-the-box ideas. So as long as we have the rationale and the data to back up the accounts that we want to include in those campaigns, which Sixth Sense is able to give us, then I think the company has really kind of backed me to run these kind of campaigns that are a little bit different, that kind of break through the noise. And so the process for me is what kind of fun proposition is there, and how can we tie that in to what we do in a way that it feels not contrived, that it feels natural.
And why? So it's Sherlock Holmes Day today. You were telling me.
It's Sherlock Holmes Day today, and given that we help companies identify, create, and convert pipeline, I've got a campaign called the Mystery of the Missing Pipeline.
Right.
So that combines a virtual whiskey tasting with some bespoke whiskies from a variety of Scottish distilleries, and then we're also sending out a kind of cryptex box with a 6-letter lock combination. We're bringing on an external puzzle vendor to run that aspect, so they're going to be doing some kind of mystery solving as well. They'll get the code. Inside the code is a special UV torch.
Yeah.
And on some of those whiskey tasting documents that they'll be receiving as part of this pack, we've actually created a segment within Sixth Sense for these accounts, so we can show them the number of accounts that are in market, what kind of keywords are trending for those accounts, and specific target accounts of theirs that are showing intent around their competitors, but not the account themselves.
Fantastic. Drinking your own champagne, I think is the expression we should use.
Very much so. I think any campaign relies upon good account data, not just for ensuring the best ROI and the best returns for the campaign, but just making sure that it's relevant to those accounts that you want to involve.
Great stuff. And today is all about new MarTech and exciting solutions. There's a lot of interest in MarTech. People still recognise it as a foundational element of great B2B marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't come at the expense of good strategy and good campaign planning. I think we're seeing a lot of fragmentation of platforms into sort of specific point solutions. A lot of them do a good job. I'd say the key with a tech stack is the execution from the data that you get, how you operationalize it, how you get that data into the hands of both your marketing and your sales team to align around accounts in a consistent way. So that's what we are talking about with our prospects and customers here today.
Fantastic. Thanks for your time.
Cheers.
So I'm here with Graham from Ice Blue Sky, Anticon. Graham, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Joe. Good to see you.
Lovely to see you too.
Surprised? Well, no, I'm not surprised to see you. It's just good to see people from the marketing world here.
Well, it is exactly. We're not all technology people.
No.
But it's nice, and I like to surprise people, keep people guessing about how I'm going to turn out. Rachel calls me "Where's Wally" in the office, but there we go, separate thing. So you're an agency. What's an agency doing here, Anticon?
Oh my God, Joe. We need to be here because we need to understand technology. We need to understand where it's going. And as I was saying earlier about it's a reaffirmation of have we got it right? Do we understand what's going on? Are there things we should be doing? Are we doing things incorrectly? And we've got to change the direction. So that's why we're here. So it's just about intelligence gathering, picking up snippets, understanding things. Can we weave some of this language into our presentations?
And you were saying you're building some of your own tech as well, right?
Yeah, we are.
So it's not as if you're just seeing this as a user. You're actually kind of here as a kind of developer as well, to a certain extent.
Yeah, we are. And productization and actually looking at applications and how it benefits the engagement within the B2B process, especially in account-based marketing, is key for us because that's how we keep our offering relevant and the outcome super powerful for the people we're servicing. So so that's why we need to be here.
Absolutely, multiple reasons to be. And so what are you taking away from it so far? Any particular themes that stand out? Is it just all about AI, or is there kind of broader things that are kind of standing out for you?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is about AI. For me, it's about connecting the dots. So we see a lot of these technology in isolation. So we see intent and we see data. And then we see spinning up content and the channels of the creation and things like that. And it's very much in its silo instance and some great businesses here. For me, it's about how we as an industry or us as an agency, how are we knitting those things together more? How do we be able to get that scalability, the relevancy, the accuracy of it? And I think that's where we are in the evolution of marketing right now. Is how do we knit it together? Because I don't want to be dealing with lots of different things.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Graham.
That's all right, Joel. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
The next thing we did is we brought in a customer data platform. We are in the process of implementing it. So
I'm here with Simon Daniels, who's a long-standing contact in B2B, someone I've known for a long time. You've been speaking today, haven't you?
I have indeed, yes, or at least leading a panel discussion.
Well, contributing to the agenda, I think, is the more generic term.
There we go. That's how we like to say it.
There we go. That's nice and snappy. Trips off the tongue, doesn't it? What was your panel discussion about?
We were talking about marketing transformation, specifically the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Right.
So it was a conversation about what is transformation and whether that's something that we should actually be striving for, or whether it's optimization and just continuous change and continuous improvement. And then talking about some of the lessons learned, obstacles overcome, challenges, and these kinds of things.
Yeah, I caught some of the session, and I think the kind of discussion about what do you call this thing that we're doing, because we're always striving to be better. Is it transformation, and does the transformation ever stop? It seems to me like the current environment never does stop.
No, it doesn't stop, and Barry on the panel made that point, and it is an important one in the sense that even if you define a transformation, once it's complete, you've then got to just think to yourself, what's the next transformation? So it is really a continuous improvement. I think milestones are important. You've got to know where you're trying to get to, but recognizing that once you get there, you're just going to set off on the next journey.
That's if you finish it, presumably, because you may not even finish it before the next one starts.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. Well, and we kind of touched on that in terms of scope and whether like you say, really, you're either pulled off target or you don't get where you're trying to get to and what you're trying to achieve. It's certainly important to try and hit those milestones and finish something before you move on to the next thing, unless events have moved on so much that it just isn't applicable.
And what's the state of marketing automation or marketing technology, I should say, generally right now? Is there a lot of excitement around it? Is it still something that people are investing a lot in, or is it a more caution, chastened environment, given perhaps the retrenchment of some of the vendors that we may have seen in perhaps 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think there's a realization or a realism around it. Some of the exuberance of investment and spending, companies are realizing that they need to rein that in a little bit, make sure that they're being prudent with their spend, obviously the kind of macro environment that we're operating in, and making sure that they're getting value for money. Clearly, AI in the last coming up on 3 years now has exploded, and although in some respects, AI and machine learning has been infused in marketing technology for many years. Clearly, it's gone to another level, and so it's important to be embracing that and thinking about that in terms of marketing technology. But at the same time, the core tenet of MarTech, if you think about what is MarTech for, it is for customer engagement, buyer engagement. That hasn't changed. And so it's important to keep that in mind. Keep in mind what it is that we're actually trying to do with this technology, and then take all the prudent steps that, to a certain extent, we were always meant to, and with a bit of over exuberance in the past, perhaps. We've added too much to the stack and got carried away, and so it's just a matter of managing that more carefully and more thoughtfully.
Prudence and MarTech, not things that often go together, but wise words.
Indeed. Well, that's what I'm here for.
Thanks, Simon. Much appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'm nearing the end of my time at Anticon today, and it's been really interesting. I've seen some great sessions this afternoon from client-side in-house marketers, which has demonstrated the value coming, and had some really good conversations with contacts, old and new. Lots of people didn't expect to be here, so that's been really valuable to me. It's a fun event with a kind of unconventional, unstructured vibe, or at least informal vibe anyway. The overwhelming topic, if you're talking about IT, it's always, or MarTech, it's always going to be AI, right? And there's no surprise in that. It can feel a bit overwhelming as a topic, and it kind of gets into everything. I think people are right to be cynical about whether a lot of what's being discussed is genuinely new or genuinely interesting, and is it generally changing the ground, changing the rules. I think one of the sessions I saw today from Schroders, we're talking about Identify, was really fascinating. So I urge you to check that out. So it's definitely going to be a topic that runs and runs, and it's good to see that new life being breathed into the whole conversation about MarTech. Thanks a lot.